Greetings friends, and welcome back into the workshop on part 2 of making our steel bouquet. If you missed part 1, there's a link in the top of the description. So we have our bouquet this far. On part 2 I would like to finish the vase. I have a piece of tube cut here. I'd like to finish the base, and the leaves to finish off our bouquet. Now just look at this. With this size of tube for the vase here, these flowers just look way too spread apart. I have two options. I could put a whole bunch of foliage in here, or I could add another flower right here in the center. Doesn't it just look like it needs one more right in there? Don't you think so? I do. Okay, so just as I get out here to light the forge, it is starting to sprinkle out here, but thanks to the power of video editing, I will see you when the rain stops right now. The rain has ended, so let's light the forge. Well friends, I just broke the big petal in half. You'll remember back in the beginning I split this one. Now I've split two. So friends, it is time to make another set of the large petals. But because it is getting late, and I don't know if you can hear it starting to sprinkle outside, I am going to have to do this tomorrow. So once again, thanks to the power of video editing, I will see you tomorrow right now. But it's not tomorrow, it's actually quite a bit later, as you can see by how green the trees have gotten. But we are now ready to make our new large set of petals. Yes, a few days ago I came out to find that my dad put a paint mixer in the middle of the steel bouquet because he thought the ends looked like the flowers. So friends, I've been going back and forth on this, trying to decide whether I want to use a smaller tube, like 2.5 inch, or a larger tube, like 4 inches, as the vase. Now, I really think I like it better on the 2.5 inch tube. I think that looks nicer, but as I arrange it, there's just no space for the 6th flower that we just finished. So I think we will continue with 5 flowers. And after working with this for a little bit, I have drawn out on this torn piece of paper a few leaf designs that I think I really like. By now you may be wondering what type of flower we're making. I don't know. This project has reminded me why I'm not a florist. I'm just trying to put metal together in a way that I think looks pretty. So let's start tracing some of these leaves out. So friends, it is now time for some more decision making. Now that we have these, what should I call them, pointy things welded on here, I've placed the flowers in it and I really think it looks kind of nice. Now, again, I'm not a florist, so I'm probably going to end up shifting it around and such before I end up with what I really like. But I've also experimented with this. This is another piece of sheet stock that I have cold textured into somewhat of a leaf pattern, and I think I'm going to add these into here because I really think it needs a broader leaf around the bottom. Another thing I know I'm going to do is heat these stems. Well, first of all, shorten the stems by about 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches, and then I plan on heating these stems right here and bending these flowers out so they're not in quite as tight of a bunch up here. And so I think that's what we're going to do now. Friends, we've made a lot of progress and I really think this is coming well, but there are just a couple more things that I think I would like to do on this before I consider it done. 2 of which I've already mentioned. Did I say a couple? 3 more things. I need to lower these flowers just a little bit. They're just too far from the leaves down here up to the petals, so I think I'll shorten the stems by about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. Second thing is I need to bend the stems out so they're not so much up here in a clump. And then when those are done, we can start working on a base for the vase. Alrighty friends, while the paint is out there drying, we have a moment to make some more decisions and a moment for me to start cleaning up the shop a little bit now that things have gotten a little bit out of order. So as you saw, we painted the vase and I think that looks wonderful. I was planning on leaving the leaves shiny because I thought There we go. I thought the contrast looked nice of having a dark flower, shiny leaves, and now it's going to have a black vase and base to the vase. But as I look at it, I am wondering whether I should also paint the leaves. I'll have to set the flowers in there and look at it. As you saw, we shined the leaves on the wire wheel right here on the bench grinder. But I am wondering if we should paint the whole thing black. So once that's dry, we'll go ahead and put in the leaves and we will see what it looks like. Alrighty friends, with the flowers in the vase now, I have made my decision. We are going to leave the leaves silver. Now, I have some slight touch-up painting to do on the bottom here where I put tape over it, but the tape covered a little too much. And honestly, I got my order of operations a little bit wrong. I shouldn't have painted that vase until I had welded on the base for it. So I'm going to have to take it over to the wire wheel, brush off some of that paint. We will tack weld on a base that we will cut out with the cutting torch, and then we'll be ready to paint the whole thing all over again, do the final touch-up polishing, and it will be done. We now have the base for the vase cut out, and as you can see here, or you'll see later on, I have left the base for the vase about 1 inch big all the way around, and that is so to add stability to it. And I've left the edge with the texture of the cutting torch cut because I think that looks pretty neat. So it's all been sanded on the wire wheel here on the bench grinder. So I'd say let's weld it on. Alrighty guys, I just had to run back inside to switch camera batteries out. But I have moved the vase in there, back in the shop in front of the fan, and the final paint there is drying. And as soon as that is done, we will be able to put the flowers in the vase, and it will be done. Well friends, it's been an absolute joy for me making this steel bouquet. I really like how it turned out. I really like the flowers, also how the leaves, there being the wide ones and the curved ones, give more depth to it. In making these leaves, I did last minute trim the tips so they're not needle sharp because, you know, if flowers fall off the table, you don't want them stabbing right through your concrete floor and such. So that's not going to be a danger issue right there. I am overall very pleased with this. If you have not seen part 1 of making the steel bouquet, go ahead and go down to the description. Link in the top of the description, you will find the link to part 1 of this. And while you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment suggesting what I should do with the extra flower that we made. Because remember, we made an extra one and then we only needed 5. So, what should I do with this one? Also, go ahead and give a suggestion as to what project we should do together next. I always love projects that challenge my skill level and require extra learning and extra effort. It's been a joy doing this. It's been a joy having you along, and until next time, Forge on.